If you're joining us online on Zoom, we are waiting to see if we could get a quorum in the room. So we haven't started the meeting yet. Bandwidth issue. Yeah, my count is 15 off. Yeah, I might not know all the things, but I don't know. Right, it takes me a couple of meetings, and it takes them talking a couple. In my Nick viewing, thank you. Well, I do love the DVR. Or whatever it's about now.
Let me do it right now. Well, I have downtime for the next 30 seconds. Hey, Pat.
Hello, Julia.
What's happening? Hello.
Yeah, I was like, Damien, where's Damien? He's always here. We were here, you weren't here. You see it, I was like, but, and I think somebody else sat there, was like, who's that poser? Who's that poser? We're gonna look at the videotape, we're gonna look at the videotape. Can't remember, remind me when we leave after stop at the deli.
Good evening, everyone. We have not reached quorum, but we are going to start stuff that does not require quorum to get us started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julio Peña. I'm the chair of Community Board 7. Welcome to our May general meeting. We are going to go to do elected officials. And I'm just gonna go by who I see and then figure it out later. Francesca, and then Alicia. F- I'm sorry, remind me your name, please. Sean? Thank you, and Sean and Jessica. Yes, yes, so Francesca, followed by Alicia, and then Sean.
Good evening, everyone. Please ignore my buffalo chicken breath. We have some really fun things coming up. We're bringing back our Fitness in the Park series. The next one is actually going to be at Sunset Park on May 28th at 6 p.m. It's called Move and Flow for Elder Bodies. It's with the Mark Morris Dance Center. We're going to be out there for about an hour in Sunset Park. We would love if anybody could come join. Everybody's invited, elder bodies and all, and younger bodies as well. Please message our office or call our office if you guys need anything or have any questions. But if not, we'll meet you in the park at 6 p.m. on May 28th. I don't really have a lot of crazy announcements besides that. We're still working really hard in Albany just to fight for New York for all, to fight for everybody's safety and well-being underneath the law. And this week in the Capitol, I guess something that we're focused on is actually street safety. And a lot of folks from PS 939 and MS 936 have made their way back into my inbox. And I just want to remind everybody, you are not forgotten. We are still fighting to try to get another school crossing guard for 3rd Avenue and 60th. It's a hellish intersection, pardon. They need a they need a crossing guard. It's scary. I've also put in a third request to New York City DOT, to which state DOT said, not our section. But we're still waiting for word from City DOT to see if we're gonna get stainless steel bollards on that corner. So if anybody has a minute and would love to go on the Contact DOT portal and request those bollards, the neighborhood would love and appreciate you. If not, I am emailing them every day. I'm going to keep it short this time. I know we're still waiting on quorum, but that's pretty much the biggest thing. Please join us for Fitness in the Park. And have a good night. Thank you.
Francesca, and that flyer is going in our newsletter tomorrow. She said she has both languages outside, just in case. Alicia, followed by Sean.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alicia. I'm with the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. Happy May. It's good to see everybody again. And old members, new members, welcome. So I also have a short agenda, which is, I know, perfect for today's meeting. We have had an eventful month with a lot of events, most of which passed, so I do not need to touch them. But importantly, coming up, I believe in 2 Wednesdays, we're having a Q&A session with the Brooklyn Marine Terminal. So if you don't know, it's happening in our neighbors in Red Hook and Cobble Hill. There's going to be, and Carroll Gardens, there's a redesigning of the Brooklyn Marine Terminal. And there's been a lot of questions, not the most transparency and clarity about what's happening. So we're really happy to be hosting something with the EDC where the Brooklyn Borough President will be going and asking a series of questions to EDC, who is the city agency tasked with doing the redesigning. So there won't be a chance for a public Q&A session, but if you have any questions, you can go and submit them beforehand and they will be asked. And yeah, that is again on Wednesday, June 4th, and there are flyers in the left corner over here. Recently, we also had a rally for deed theft this Tuesday at the City Hall. So if you don't know much about it, it's a huge issue happening all across the borough, specifically in central Brooklyn, where homeowners are tricked out of their deeds, so and then essentially lose their homes. So trying to make sure there's better protections with the law, with more funding for legal services, and also preventing the circumstances that even make people lose their houses in the first place. So we are grateful to the people who showed up for us there. And please feel free to grab one of the flyers on your way out. And thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Alicia. Sean, followed by Jessica.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Girl, Community Liaison for Assemblymember Robert Carroll. Just a couple of things today. At the beginning of the month, our spring clean and green at the far corner of Community Board 7 was a big success. We had 250 people drop off e-recycling. We got a mountain of textiles for recycling, hundreds of people shredded paperwork, and 60 constituents upgraded to Real ID through the DMV mobile unit. In the looking towards the future, on Tuesday, June 17th, Assemblymember Carroll is sponsoring a children's book giveaway with the Cortelli Road Library and Book Bodega, which means that from now until June 10th, you can drop off children's books ages 0 to 18 that are in good condition at our office on 7th Avenue between 13th and 14th Street. It's a great time to get rid of books if you have them. Furthermore, on June 31st, we have the MTA MetroCard coming back to the district office. That's between 13th and 14th Street. It's a good time to get elusive help directly from the MTA, especially with Omni cards, which are, the MTA is phasing out Metro cards at the end of the year, as we all know. So that's on July 31st at our district office. And apart from that, that's all I got. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sean. Jessica, followed by Ray.
Good afternoon or evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Bravo. I am the new liaison for Community Board 7. I'm coming on behalf of Congressman Dan Goldman. I'm really happy to be here today, and I'm going to be very brief. The first update, it's in regards to the Empire Wind Project. Following the Trump administration's reckless stop work order on the fully permitted Empire Wind one farm. Then hosted a press conference with Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso, organized labor and industrial workforce and energy advocates to slam the decision and pressure the administration to reverse course. And as a result of Dan and the advocates' pressure, the administration lifted its stop work order and has allowed the project to go forward. The Empire Wind 1 employs over 1,000 union workers and will deliver clean, renewable energy to over 500,000 New York homes, as well as over 100 million in supply chain economic investments across the state, and incentivizes states to provide intensive community-based services to treat SMI. And I think that's all I have for today. Again, I'm really happy to be here, and I look forward to hearing any questions that you guys may have.
Question, Antoinette? Just 1 second for the microphone. Thank you.
I'm just curious if there's any updates on the Brooklyn Marine Terminal.
Hello. Thank you very much for your question. I currently don't have any updates on that, but I'm more than happy to follow up on that with you at the end of the session, so we can talk more about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica, and welcome again. Ray, followed by Emmett on Zoom. Unless I missed anyone else from the room.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ray Morales. I'm here on behalf of Senator Stephen T. Chan. The senator sends his regards and thanks CB7 for all their hard work. I will keep this very, very brief. I just want to remind everyone here of the location and phone number of our district office and make you aware of one event we have coming up. The district office is located at 6605 Fort Hamilton Parkway. That's on 66th and Fort Hamilton Parkway. The phone number is 718-333-0311. Our office is here for you. Any issues you may have, any concerns, we'd be happy to assist to that end. Based on the previous success of the last 3 events we had of the same nature, we're having another free a seminar to assist seniors with their applications for New York senior housing. That's going to be taking place tomorrow, 5/22, from 2 to 5 p.m. at our district office. Again, we've had such a huge turnout on the last 3 events. We're having a 4th. So if you know anyone that needs to avail themselves of the service, please let them know. I'll be here for the duration if you have any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Emmett from Assemblymember Matenas' office.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Reporting live from Planet Albany. I'm Chief of Staff Assemblymember Matenas. Just a quick couple of updates on the budget. After 5 years, we were able to successfully get one of our primary budget initiatives, the Housing Access Voucher Program, implemented. We were able to secure $50 million for a 4-year program starting March 1st for family vouchers for families making less than $77,000 a year in New York City. This voucher, as folks may remember, will be primarily targeted to families who are in the shelter system, families facing housing eviction and housing court, or on the verge of housing, just the verge of eviction. We're really proud of this initiative. Even though we were not able to secure 250 million in the following years that's coming forward, we're going to make sure we continue to fight for more funding that's necessary to make sure that families are covered. Additionally, we were able to secure 40 million in the homeowner protection program, HOP, 340 million in university expansion of the universal school meals program, 13.5 million in the bell to bell cell phone ban in schools. More information on that will be sent out shortly later in the year by the state. And secondly, the state was able to allocate $8 billion to pay off a $6.2 billion debt that was owed to the federal government as a result of the universal unemployment insurance. Because of this debt was being paid off, we would start to see unemployment benefits that were capped at $504 in 2019. Since 2019, be expanded to $869 a week by this year. We know that, and we expect more federal cuts to come later on. So we'll let you guys know if there's more initiatives coming out. But we are expecting to be called back to the session sometime in the fall in order to pass budget amendments to make sure that we're able to offset any federal cuts coming down early. Lastly, we have a series of Thursday weekly workshops on the Rhode Island's board for people who are rent stabilized tenants. Our office is at 4907 4th Avenue. We're having workshops every week at 6 o'clock to prep folks for testimony for the upcoming Rhode Island's board. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Emmett. Edward Cerna, Councilmember Aviles' office.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, everyone. Happy May. Just gonna jump right in. The council member passed 2 pieces of legislation, legislation piece 860 and 861. 860 would establish an annual community hiring report that would require the New York City EDC to provide metrics for goals established under community hiring programs. And this goes to the heart to some of the issues that many folks at the community board and community members have said, that the city spends so much money on our working waterfront, and they make all these promises and lease out space to private entities, and then we never really know whether they're delivering on the promises that are made. And so 861 would also amend the terms of contracting between the city and the New York City EDC to require in its annual report information around those community benefit agreements. So again, these 2 pieces of legislation go to the heart of a lot of transparency matters with the EDC. And while there's still a long way to go, this is really going to move the needle in an unprecedented way. So just want to thank community members John Santor and like members of the Sunset Park Task Force like Katie Walsh, et cetera, who really dedicate their time and have been ringing the alarm on this important issue. Just to build upon my updates last month, about the budget, the council is launching its executive budget hearings this month. And they're going to drill down on a lot of like outstanding questions that still remain about the executive budget. Despite the mayor's claims of the best budget ever, there's still many cuts on the tables, and with cuts on the federal level, the implications are hitting locally. For instance, like AmeriCorps funds a lot of after-school programming in the community, and now we're seeing a bunch of families potentially losing out on this really valuable and critical resource. So the council member will be fighting with her colleagues in the council to make sure that the council and the city, at the best that it can fill this hole that is being left by the federal government. Just lastly, we'll say that the tax lien sale will happen now on June 2nd. If there are any property owners that still have debt in regards to taxes, water, sewer repairs, they should be reaching out to the Department of Finance, and the council has worked to create multiple pathways to help resolve that debt. So constituents can pay the minimum amount, apply for an exemption, or enter into a payment agreement with Department of Finance. So folks can reach out to our office, and we would be more than happy to help with that. So later on in the month, happy Memorial Day and AAPI Heritage Month. Thank you all, and have a great rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Edward. We have a question from Pat.
Hey, Edward, hope you're well. Do you have any update on what's going on with the senior center and your office being able to assist with getting them relocated?
Yeah, so we had a great action a few weeks ago, and thank you for the question, Pat. United is very top of mind. I'm speaking to Griselle. I used to speak to her a lot, but now more than ever. The situation is still very fluid. You know, the landlord we're still asking that the landlord come back to the city with a reasonable offer. But we're working again, like I can't really share a lot, but we are working both with some state partners and with some city partners to try to rectify the situation. But yeah, the lease is up in June. And I again, like I can't really share more than that, but we are really taking this seriously, and you know, the council members fighting really hard to make sure they stay in place.
All right, I just thought
And
I'd also.
just yeah,
Go ahead,
sorry,
finish your
quickly. Yeah, quickly, Pat. I know it has come up that the space behind where, you know, everyone is meeting right now was on the table. We have done that. We have reached out to both the DCAS commissioner, DIFTA, and folks at City Hall. But as we know, that's a space controlled by NYPD. But again, we're not leaving any stone unturned. We are exploring every single avenue that's being brought to our attention to see, you know, how we can rectify the situation. And sorry to cut you off, Pat.
Oh, no, not a problem. I also wanted to let you know that I sit on the board of the Marienheim Senior Housing right across the street. And I spoke to the chair and let him know that he should communicate with the senior center there that's run by NYU, because I'm quite sure, I mean, I'm hoping they don't close. But if they do, there will be overflow to that senior center. So I'm hoping that there is communication as to what Marienheim Senior Center will expect in numbers. So I just thought I'd give you that little nugget. Thanks.
For sure. And thank you for that.
Thank you, Edward. Ikra Shafiq from Councilmember Hanif's office.
Hi, everyone. This is Ikra from Councilmember Hanif's office. I just want to share a few events that are taking place. On Thursday, May 22nd at 5 p.m., Fifth Ave Committee is having a share your perspective against hate at Fifth Ave Committee. New York City Budget is also having a sort of webinar 5/28, 5/29, and another one on 5/29 at 6:30. We're having Bike Day in Prospect Park on Saturday, May 31st from 2 to 5 p.m. We're also having another class that's called Rules of Road class on May 28th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Also, if you're interested in free yoga classes, come to the Park Slope Library on June 2nd and June 9th from 4 to 5 p.m. If you know anyone with hospital bills that they can't afford, contact our office. We can help sort of put them in touch with the right people. I have a Arrow Linen update. The new owners are focused on the relocation of the laundry site. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Ikra, just a clarification. You said that there are new owners to the Arrow Linen site?
Sorry, the previous owners like are focused on the relocation laundry site. There's no new owners.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you, Ikra. Okay, moving on, we do have a quorum. So we're gonna start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And Jeremy will call the roll.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call roll now. If you were joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself, say, "Let's go Knicks," or just acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Let's start with Diana Aguilar. Diana Aguilar. Please don't speak for her. Griselle Amador.
Present.
Thank you. Griselle, you do not count towards quorum. Damian Andrade. Thank you. And thank you again. Julia Bailey.
Present.
Thank you. Julia, you do not count towards quorum. Joan Body. Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Thank you. Justin Campos. Jerry Chan. Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Richard Codor. Kari Conti.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Maria Cruz. Thank you. Danny DeBear. Thank you. John DeLuper. Thank you. Gabino Morales Escamilla. Cynthia Felix. Thank you. Matthew Florkowitz. Thank you. Please tell me if I butcher your name. Jamie Freed. Thank you. Kin Fung.
Present.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Chiomara Garcia. Thank you. Dinah Gonzalez.
I was gonna say
Thank
that.
you.
I was totally gonna say that.
Beginning of the season. Hector Gonzalez. Thank you. Tylisha Gonzalez. Thank you. Nicole Huang. Thank you. Nicholas Jackson. Dan Kaminsky. Jeremy Kaplan. Ooh.
Stealing my.
Do I have to acknowledge that? Aaron Keith.
Present. Let's go next.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Wyco.
Yeah.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Paul Mack.
I'm here.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Antoinette Martinez. Thank you very much. Jonathan Martinez. Thank you. Rosie Moda. Julio Pena III.
Let's go NYCFC.
This
Thank
Rosie, I'm
you.
present.
Thank you, Rosie. Rosie, you do not count towards quorum. Michael Pepin. Thank you very much. Benjamin Reeves. Karen Rolnick. Thank you. Joanna Romero.
Present.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Patricia Ruiz.
May the best team win.
Thank you. Damaris Santiago.
Present.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Sam Sierra. Kalina Sorma. Michael Tom. Thank you. Faye Walker. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. Thank you. 26 in the room. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we proceed with our items on the agenda, I would like to acknowledge the boat accident that happened earlier this week. Unfortunately, 2 members of the Mexican Navy lost their lives. More than a dozen, I think, were injured. Very tragic accident in a show that was supposed to shows unity. So I would just like to take a few moments of silence, please. Thank you. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda. Can I entertain a motion to adopt? Motioned by Damien. Is there a second? By Gladys. Is there any objection to adopting the agenda? Objection? Okay. No, not the minutes. Okay. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, agenda is adopted. Moving on to the adoption of the minutes of the April 16th, 2025 board meeting. Is there a motion? Motioned by Pat to approve, seconded by Karen. Is there any objection to adopting the minutes from the April 16th board meeting? Hearing or seeing none, so adopted. Thank you. Moving on to public comment. This is for members of the public who wish to comment on an item on the agenda. Is there a member of the public who wishes to, okay, come on up? Yeah, 3 minutes. And if you could just please state your name for the record. Thank you. Yeah, microphone, please, thank you.
Johanna Bjorkane. I'm a resident here in Sunset Park, have been for 21 years, and I wear many hats, but today I'm speaking solely in my personal capacity. I bring you numbers. I'm speaking about the Brooklyn Rise Charter School being built, building itself a new building on the side of the gas station. Bottom line, Sunset Park does not need this school. Sunset Park's in a very different place than it was in 2014 when my now 10th grader was entering kindergarten, when our schools were some of the most overcrowded in the city. I'm so proud that I was one of the many parents and many of you who campaigned and hustled to get 5 public schools built here in Sunset Park, and it worked. We are no longer overcrowded. 6. Okay, 6. We're no longer overcrowded. In fact, this year, 85% of the classrooms in Sunset Park's District 15 elementary schools will meet the requirements of the class size law. That's 20 students in grades K to 2, and 23 students 3 to 5. Next year, the projections are that more than 90% of classrooms will meet that limit. The new schools are a huge part of this, but it's also population change. In 2014 to 15, Sunset Park schools enrolled 974 kindergartners. In 22-23, it was 799, and that includes the charter schools that are now here. Next year, it's projected to fall even further, 5% year over year. According to the Office of District Planning, that's the DOE, it's not because of school choice. District 15 continues to retain most of its elementary school students. We know why the numbers are going down. It's gentrification, and it's the fact that there's a shortage of housing that our neighbors with families can truly afford. And that's what we need, not a new school building. And especially when we are going to pay to build it. Brooklyn Rise does not have a construction budget. A private developer is doing it. We pay because the city reimburses charters for their lease costs. And if you Google, you can read all about the lawsuits the city is not winning, even when leases are grossly inflated. The money comes out of the DOE budget, $3.2 billion. 8% of the entire DOE's budget is for charters, and a huge part of that is private lease reimbursements. Brooklyn Rise charged $1.1 million in lease costs in 2023. That was $300,000 more than the previous year. And I'll say this, the developer paying for the remediation and giving a 35-year lease to this building is awfully confident about the return on their investment. So let's just review. Demographics have shifted. SCA would never build another school here, but a private developer will do it, and leaving less money for 3K, pre-K, less money for summer rising, less money for after school, and increasing the risk that if demographic trends persist, our local schools, the schools we fought for, might have to close. Oppose this, please.
Thank you. Come on.
My name is Antonia Ferraro Martinelli. I am the CEC 15 president. That's Community Education Council of District 15 that covers parts of Sunset Park. I've been on the council for 8 years, and in that 8 years, we've done a lot of important work in Sunset Park, including advocating for all of these new school buildings that have been built over the last few years. We've collaborated with many organizations on that, initiated PAR, Participatory Action Research teams, to find out exactly what Sunset Park parents want. And engage the community in all of our admissions changes. And I don't want to miss an opportunity to collaborate closely with Community Board 7. And I'm afraid that we missed an opportunity to communicate effectively and collaborate when you guys had that meeting on May 1st with the operator of Brooklyn Rise Charter. And I really would have liked to have been able to share that with my community so that we all know what is going on. So I'm here to reinitiate that relationship so that we can work collaboratively together. So our families have more questions than were answered in that video, like who is the developer of that building that owns the building? What is the yearly rent the developer intends to charge the DOE? I understand they can build as of right, that there's no ULARP necessary, but it's important for the community to understand why this matters, and it matters for 3 reasons, which Johanna explained a bunch of them. They acknowledge in their interview with you all that this school is in a corridor of existing schools. I count 6 of them within 4 short blocks. This threatens their enrollment. We just heard about demographic decline in the area. Enrollment equals money for your schools, and it's the difference between having a fully funded education and having a partially funded education. So we have per pupil funding and enrollment equals dollars. We have 2 middle schools right across the street from where this school is going to go. We have another middle school here, 428. Brooklyn Prospect Charter has at Sunset Yards has a middle school. That's 4 middle schools in a 4-block radius. So we don't need it. And we, the public school parents, are going to be paying the rent on this new, very lucrative piece of real estate. Understand that under New York state law, New York City public schools, and only New York City public schools, have to give free space to charters in public buildings or pay to subsidize their rental reimbursements. Okay, so when the operator asked Brooklyn Rise why they were pushed out of D20, Sunset Park should ask themselves, why? Why doesn't Bay Ridge have a single charter? What are they protecting? They're protecting fully functioning, full funding for their schools. So let's work together to make Sunset Park schools work for all of our students and not the developers. Thank you so much.
Robin Kilmer?
Robin Kilmer, you can unmute yourself now.
Hi, can you?
Yes, we can. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't really prepare that many notes, but I appreciate what Antonia and Johanna said. There are still lots of questions to be asked. Someone already asked, how much will the lease be? So basically, that's asking how much money is going to be taken away from our local schools. Also, the building is being constructed where a gas station was standing for almost 100 years. So the gas station was there, or there has been a gas station at that site on 40th and 4th Street since the 1920s, which is in the NYSDEC Brownfield Cleanup Program application. And so we don't even know if the students who will be attending will be actually safe. And I am not an expert in reading these documents, but it kind of looks like that the developer said their stated intent after the remediation would be to make the building a residential building. So that's kind of confusing. And as many other people are saying, several schools in the area just got finished being constructed. And in my son's school case is still under construction. And this comes at a time when the area is losing families and also schools are losing money. My son's school doesn't have a science teacher, for instance, because we lost funding. And so now more resources will be depleted to pay for this school, which, by the way, doesn't even serve our community students as well as the district schools do. Based on Principal Finnegan's own data, their English language learners performed 11 points below the average of District 15 schools. So this school is not fulfilling a need. And it just seems kind of like a vanity project for someone who has not even been licensed to teach at New York City public schools. So that's what I have to say now, but also it's clear that there just was not a lot of time for people to react on this. It was a couple weeks ago that I noticed that the gas station was gone. And then a few days after that, there was a post on Facebook with the principal trying to recruit people to the school, and now this meeting. So there's just not a lot of time to comment. And it's just not fair that people are scrambling and wondering what the future is going to be for their own schools.
Thank you.
Okay.
Maureen?
Maureen, you can unmute yourself now. Marina Boyle?
Hi. No, I didn't have my hand raised for anything.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you. Okay, moving on to Chair's report. Did move it up a little earlier on the agenda to go over some things. I want to first thank our board members who have stepped off the board. Moisha Hecht, Christina Lem, Barbara Lee, Marilyn Melman, Kenny Guan, and Beatrice DeSapio, B. DeSapio. I would like to note, we learned B. DeSapio served over 51 years on this board. Yeah, round of applause for that. She unfortunately couldn't be here this evening, but she will be joining us for our June meeting, and we will, just be honoring her commitment to this board. With that, I would like to welcome our new board members. And if I want to call your name, you could just wave so that people can see you. Carrie? Oh, Carrie's on Zoom, that's right. Carrie?
Hi, hello.
Hi, welcome. Michael? Welcome, Michael. Justin? Yeah. Yeah, I remember, yeah. Maria? Welcome, Maria. Matthew? Tylisha? Michael Pepin. We have two Michaels. Oh, sorry, I meant Michael Tom. I forgot that there were two Michaels. Benjamin. Danny. Welcome. And Ziomara. Welcome, new board members. Looking forward to having you build some work together with us. Additionally, just to go over a couple of things, last month, right after our April board meeting, myself, Jeremy, Katie, and John met with members of the BQE revisioning task force to give an update on the Third Avenue plan, and that it was stalled, to kind of get a sense of where we like to moving forward. It was a productive meeting, and we're hoping to have some identified targets in terms of next steps soon. Keeping with Third Avenue, a couple of weeks ago, I did an interview and tour with WNYC and Gothamist on a story on Third Avenue that featured during Sunset Park Story in general with the council member was also present, just to talk about our longstanding concerns with Third Avenue. So it was very productive. This last week, I sent a letter to Department of City Planning with some comments for the last mile text amendment. Unfortunately, the committee did not make quorum, and DCP had a very hard deadline of last Friday. So we took some notes from the meeting, and I sent a letter so that those could be captured into the last mile text amendment, which this board pushed for many years through our former last mile subcommittee, which Katie spearheaded. Last week also, I toured the new Con Ed facility on 27th Street. This was connecting the plant that is on 24th Street. This is kind of a big deal because it would mean that we're closing and decommissioning the peaker plants in this community and reducing our dependency on foreign oil. So we're very excited about that facility opening up. And lastly, just want to wish everyone a happy Gemini season. Today's the start of Gemini. As a Gemini myself, just want to make sure everyone knew that it is the start of Gemini season.
Just ended the greatest season of all time, Taurus. That's all I'm saying.
Allegedly. Allegedly. With that, are there any questions on the chair's report? Okay, moving on to a tangential chair item. Because Barbara Lee is no longer on the board, it created a vacancy for the Assistant Sergeant at Arms position. Per Article 5, Section 12 of the bylaws, I have filled the position pro tem with Dan Kaminsky. And per our bylaws, that appointment needs to be approved by the full board. So I would like to entertain a motion to approve Dan Kaminsky as Assistant Sergeant at Arms. Motion by Cesar, seconded by Pat. Thank you. Is there any objection to the appointment of Dan Kaminsky as Assistant Sergeant at Arms? He is on his way. He told us in advance he was going to be late today. Yeah, sorry. And he accepted, yes, he accepted the position. Yes. Is there any objection to filling the vacancy with Dan Kaminsky? Seeing or hearing none, so approved. Thank you so much. Moving on to, we already did elected officials, thank you. Our committee reports, I'm gonna go a little bit out of order, starting with the joint committee meeting with executive and membership. Attendance, it was a very productive meeting, shared our board member handbook with our new board members, talked about procedures, and just a really great way to start our term. I'm very glad that we started doing them with our membership and attendance committee, and I think will really help with keeping members engaged and understanding the ins and outs of our board. Any questions from the joint committee meeting with membership and executive? Thank you, Damien. Okay, moving on to Parks and Environment Committee. Diana Aguilar, can you hear us? Diana Aguilar?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, now we can hear you.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I was feeling a little ill today, but I'm here virtually.
Thank you. We're on.
So I'm going to,
Go
can you
for
hear
it.
me?
Sorry for interrupting you.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. So in our last meeting, we had two presentations. The first was from Natalie from Beyond Plastics. Their organization, the mission of their organization is to end plastics pollution everywhere. And they came before the committee hoping for a letter of support for the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, FRIA for shorthand. And basically, it's a bill that will extend plastics producer responsibility. It has three main points. The first is to reduce plastic packaging by 30% over a 12-year period. The second is that the remaining packaging must be used effectively or recycled at a 70% rate. Currently, New York State has it as 18% rate. It's going to make companies pay municipalities for waste management of packaging. Currently, taxpayers and municipalities are responsible for all cleanup of packaging. It's going to reduce toxic chemicals in packaging, and it's going to ban 17 of the most harmful chemicals. It's also going to prohibit false solution of chemical recycling from counting towards recycling targets. The committee people who were there were really excited about that, but unfortunately we didn't have quorum, so we have to present now to the general board to get the letter of support.
Thank you, Diana. And just to clarify, we're seeking a letter of support to approve the packaging reduction. We're asking the legislature and Governor Kathy Hochul to sign the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, which is Senate Bill 1464 and Assembly Bill 1749.
Yeah, that's right. So it's currently passed both the Assembly and Senate Environmental Committee. I think it has like 70 co-sponsors in the Assembly and 29 in the Senate. So they want just to keep the momentum up and to have this letter of support from CB7 so we can send it to our representatives. I think primarily Assembly Member Lester Chang in District 49 and Senator Chan from District 17.
Thank
so it's
you.
just really to push our reps to pass it.
Thank you. So is there a motion to approve the resolution for the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act? Motion by Damien, seconded by Jeremy. Is there any discussion on the resolution asking the legislature and the governor to approve the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act? Jeremy, followed by Jonathan.
Yeah, I would say this is a fantastic bill. This is kind of the gold standard that a lot of other countries have been adapting, and they've cut really down on this is like a true environmental bill and it's written well, it's a great bill, it's really worth it to push. And like stated, it has a lot of support. So it's really about putting more pressure, and I think it's something worthwhile to sign on to. And it sort of follows up from the plastic bag fees that we've done, but this is going even further, and especially when we're seeing how much packaging is used for all the last mile, items and stuff that people are buying. This is absolutely needed, and it will be like the first in the United States, and I think it's great for New York to set the standard for that.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jonathan?
Who will be receiving this letter of support?
It would be going directly to all of our elected officials, specifically our New York State Assembly members. So that's Assemblymember Matenas and Assemblymember Chang, and our New York State senators, which would be Senator Chan and Senator Gennardis.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. Is John, go ahead.
Have another state senator in our district, Senator Myrie.
No.
No, that's not
That's
anymore.
just outside CB7 border.
Yeah, I thought Windsor Terrace had parts.
Oh, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah,
So Senator Myrie will also be receiving the letter.
It will be to all of our state elected officials.
Sorry, redistricting brain. Any other discussion? Is there, sorry, board members only. Is there any objection to adopting the resolution in support of the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act? Seeing or hearing none, it is so adopted. Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Was there another one, Diana?
Yeah, sorry about that. Having
No.
technical difficulties.
Go for it.
Yeah, so the second presentation we had that day was from Nelson from Blue Horizon Sailing. Basically, their organization is comprised of seasoned sailors. The majority are from Brooklyn. And they have this idea of creating an equitable waterfront community center in Bush Terminal Piers Park. I'm not sure if I think the presentation was shared with everyone, but it just gives more information on the types of programs they would offer. But basically, they envision having a year-round educational and vocational programs for young adults and kids, and they think Bush Terminal Piers Park is the right location for them since it's surrounded by water. There's a ton of schools nearby, and they look to successful programs like Rocking the Boat in South Bronx and the Hudson River Community Sailing Program in Manhattan. So they want to start that up here. What they really want is help getting access to the water. I think EDC has been giving them the runaround and hasn't been really clear about what they can do to get access to the water. So I'm not sure if we're at the stage where we can give a letter of support since EDC hasn't been willing to engage, but if the community has any ideas or anyone that can help get us access to the water, that would be incredible.
Thank you, Diana. That's something we can absolutely do. Send a letter to EDC asking for clarification on waterfront access for what I think is a really great program.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Moving on to, I'm going to do Education, Health, and Human Services. Jonathan?
Hello, everyone. I just want to start with Brooklyn Rise Charter School. We did had a presentation, and I wasn't aware of the opposition on that specific issue, so I would like to do a second meeting and bring any other parents or any other community members interested in discussing this issue. And I will be announcing the date, and I will be posting this in our newsletter so everyone can be aware of that. I'm all about transparency, and our committee is trying to take a position, but we will not take a position unless we hear everyone else. With that, the new school will be built on 410 40th Street here in Sunset Park. The demolition began on April 15. The substantial completion will be April 15, 2026. And the target opening date is September 2026. We'll house up to 420 students at full capacity. Also, we had a presentation from New York City Department of Health, and this presentation was about measles. Measles is a highly contagious virus spread throughout the air. Symptoms include fever, rash, and potential complications such as pneumonia, seizures, and in rare cases, death. There is no cure, there's only supportive care. And in order to prevent the spread of the measles, it is recommended to get 2 doses of the MMR vaccine, which is 97% effective. New York City has a high overall immunity at 98%, Cases remain rare and typically travel related. However, the key message from this presentation is to maintain a high MMR vaccination coverage. It's essential to preventing outbreaks and protecting public health. The third item, we had a presentation from the American Heart Association, and they are requesting a letter of support for intro number 1152. This letter of support will be sent to Alexa Viles, Susan Swan, and Shahana Hanif. Put it simple, the bill will prohibit the sale of flavored cigarettes throughout New York City. The sales of flavored cigarettes, including menthol, mint, and any other concept flavors such as Arctic or any other related concepts. The bill presumes intends to sell if business possess more than 400 or more flavored cigarettes, and it penalizes the retailer, not the individual user. This is about cutting off supply, not punishing individuals. By sending this letter of support, we are securing that our voices are heard, especially to the 3 representatives of this district. So with that, I would like to introduce a motion for a letter of support for intro 1152.
Seconded by Diana. Is there discussion?
By Diana Gonzalez.
Diana Gonzalez, thank you. Is there discussion on sending a letter of support for intro 1152, the New York City No More Menthols Act?
All flavored cigarettes. Not vape, just flavored cigarettes, sorry, not vape.
So it does not include vapes, just flavored cigarettes. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've seen a pack of cigarettes, I'll be honest.
Ave Maria.
Any other discussion? Jeremy?
Could we actually go back to the Brooklyn Rise and discuss that?
Okay,
Just 1 second. We have a motion on the floor, so that needs to be settled before we go back to that discussion, but thank you. Is there any other discussion on the letter of support for intro 1152? Thank you, Joan. Yeah. Can you use the microphone to clarify? Okay.
Only because I thought they were already outlawed by state. So I'm a little confused. So I thought, maybe I'm confused, or maybe I'm like you. I thought that the menthol flavored stuff was outlawed already, that there was some kind of law, maybe for vapes.
I do think that there is
Or
a
there was some
federal
kind of
law.
State or federal law about, because I know for kids, it was like attractive because they had like strawberry bubble gum. So, yes. For vapes, okay. I don't have any questions then.
Thank you.
Clarifying. Yes.
Microphone, please. Thank you, Jeremy.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
So it isn't so much
Fine.
Remember? You can't move and you have to stay straight. So the opposition is not to the intention or the need, right, to prevent menthol as a means of addiction, right? Menthol makes you not have your cough reaction, which actually speeds along addiction. We know that. And menthol products have been marketed to Latino and African-American people very heavily in New York. So all of that makes sense. My question in terms of the letter and maybe adding some additional language is around support programs. I mean, we have people that have been smoking menthol cigarettes for 50 plus years and can't move, have to stay. I worry that this is actually gonna push those folks to import or seek mental products outside of New York, and there are penalties associated with that. So I would like to see, right, like AHA has a great purpose, but it's often short-sighted when we don't think about risk reduction and support programs.
I agree with that, and I think that should be included in the letter as well. Thank you.
Just a point of clarification, that you're asking for a friendly amendment to also include funding support programs.
Yes, thank you.
Is that friendly amendment accepted, Jonathan?
Accepted, yes.
Thank you.
I agree, fully agree.
Any further discussion? Okay. Is there any objection to adopting the letter of support for Intro 1152 as amended? Seeing or hearing none, so adopted.
Thank you. And I'll move with the last item of my report, which is the Medical Aid in Dying Act. I'm requesting a letter of support for this specific bill. The bill is, in the Assembly is A136, Senate Bill is 136. And this is a compassionate, careful crafted piece of legislation that gives terminal ill New Yorkers the right to make deeply personal decisions about how they die. The bill allows mentally capable adults with terminal illness and a prognosis of 6 months or less to request the self-administered medication to end their life peacefully if their suffering becomes extreme. It is modeled after the Oregon Death with Dignity Act, which has been in place for over 25 years with no evidence of abuse or coercion. We're not the only state. There's additional 11 states supporting this and implementing this in the United States as well. There is also key safeguards in terms of to avoid any unintentional situations. For that, 2 doctors must confirm the diagnosis and the patient mental capacity. If there is any doubt about mental health, a psychological evaluation is required. The patient must take both an oral and written request witnessed by 2 people. The patient can change their mind at any time and must be able to self-ingest the medication. No doctors or providers is required to participate, and there are legal protections for those who choose to opt out of this specific program. A recent poll shows that 68% of New Yorkers support this legislation, including majorities across political, religious, and demographic lines. Support is strong among Democrats, Republicans, Catholics, and even physicians. With this, I would like to introduce a motion with letter of support for this specific bill that will be sent to Senator Stephen Chan, Senator Bernardes, and Senator Selnor Mary.
Thank you, Jonathan. Is there a second? Seconded by Jerry. Is there any discussion on the motion, on the letter of support for Medical Aid in Dying Act? Diana Gonzalez?
No. Why are we sending the letter just to senators and not to Assembly members?
It passed the Assembly already.
Okay,
It's being debated at the Senate right now. And we only have like until July 12th, and it's pretty much debating.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Jamie?
Yeah, just to weigh in medical
Hold it
field.
straight.
Yeah, I'm licensed to practice in the state of New York, and medical aid in dying gives people a sense of dignity and autonomy around end of life in a way that has really been missing from the American healthcare system, and this makes a profound positive difference. People most diagnoses of cancer or of dementia like Alzheimer's and ALS. And the vast majority of people who inquire about medical aid in dying really go through with it, but it opens can be hard to talk about without an option like on the table. So heartedly support this bill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie. Aaron Keith? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant you had a question. Michael, Tom.
Hi, I'm Michael Tum. I'm also a physician. I'm a psychiatrist. And, you know, I think this is a really tricky subject for me. I think it's something that I've sort of evolved on over the years. And I think generally I do support people who are suffering and sort of facing a terminal illness to have the option to end their life. I do have some concerns with this specific bill, though. And this is just from my own reading of it, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Immediately, with no sort of period to prepare for any transition. Two, there was no waiting period between when people could be evaluated for this and sort of request. You know, there are practically maybe that would introduce some kind of time for people to change their mind, but a lot of other states and other places do have a waiting period. And there was a study, I think it was in the Netherlands, where like 13 or 14% of people after making an explicit request did change their mind. And so that, you know, having some kind of brief waiting period, I think would be good. Even though it did have a lot of protections, you know, one, like the physician has to go through the different options and alternatives and, you know, make sure they consent and things like that. Some of the things were not explicitly spelled out, like it wasn't even required that the physician sort of explore the reasons behind the person asking. And so I would like to perhaps introduce an amendment to consider, you know, to urge, I guess, the legislature to consider those amendments to the bill. One, introducing a waiting period, and two, kind of asking the physicians to explore the reasons behind the person's request.
Do you accept those friendly amendments?
I do accept the amendment, but I do want to make some comments. We will be the 12th state to implement this, so I don't think we have any necessity to have any necessity to wait on the specific time, but I do accept the amendments, yes.
Sorry, just wait for the microphone.
Thank you. And just to clarify, a lot of the other states, their current bills have a waiting period. So this New York bill is the one that is different.
I'll make note of that, and I do accept amendments. And another comment in terms of the patient is always in control from step one to the end, and is always allowed to, like, don't take the pill if the patient decides not to do so. So there is safeguards already in that specifics.
Question for Xiomara? Just 1 second, just wait for the mic. Up here, sorry. Thanks, Dan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I just have a question. I just wanted to piggyback on a comment that you made. You said that there have been some like statistics or reports, and even when it came to certain like religious, certain groups, can you share how they felt about that? I'm just curious because this is a tricky subject. You know, it kind of has emotions and personal beliefs, and I think it also affects community, you know, members. And I don't mean us, I mean the community itself. You know, we have a lot of people that attend, you know, churches, and, you know, that's something that I think needs to be considered just on the behalf of that retrospect. But I just wanted to get some clarification on that.
So I don't have the numbers with me, but I'm more than happy to share those with you. But just overall, it was about plus 60% of the either Catholics or like different denomination of religious supporting the bill, and across lines, yeah.
Okay, so they
But-
supported the bill and
yes.
it's for terminal patients.
Yes. Only like if you have 6 months of life, you know, pretty much.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm happy to share that information with you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion to approve the Medical Aid in Dying Act? Sorry? With the amendments, yes, thank you, Karen.
Just to clarify, the amendment is to include a waiting period. And what was the second? Sorry, I just.
Physicians to explore other options with their patients.
Reasons.
Oh, reasons, sorry. Explore other reasons. The reason for it.
And I'll accept the 2 amendments. Yes.
So I would like to do this by a hand vote. For this is board members only. Sorry, Jeremy. If you are in favor of adopting the resolution in support of the Medical Aid in Dying Act, please raise your hand. Okay, hands down, please. If you are not in favor of supporting the resolution in support of the Medical Aid in Dying Act, please raise your hand. Please keep your hands up until Jeremy calls your name.
Gladys Bruno? Any other hands? Joan Body? Any other hands in the room?
You can before he closes the vote.
Any participants opposed? Any panelists opposed, I mean? Seeing no hands there, 2 opposed.
Before we close, I think you want to raise a concern? Yes, go ahead. Yeah. Feel free to. Yeah, problem.
Yeah, the second roll call. The motion passes pending confirmation of attendance today. Thank you, Jonathan. Before we go, I do think Jeremy
you
had
have
a question.
yeah.
Microphone.
I'd like to propose
Hi,
that-
sorry, Julio. Y'all got me a support, I hope.
Yes, we got you.
Okay,
Thank you, Rosie. Jeremy?
Going back to Brooklyn Rise, the charter school, I'd like to propose actually that the board sends a letter of disagreement on how the charter has handled things, the lack of public influence. It looks like also they went through it's already a brownfield sort of remediation process, and apparently the environmental review has already passed by like May 3rd, and there was supposed to be some sort of public comment. I don't think I saw anything about an opportunity to publicly comment on anything going on with the remediation and how they're doing it. So I'd like to propose a resolution that the board puts out a letter, clarifying our stance that, as Joanna and other community members have said, that this charter school is detrimental to our public schools. That also the way that they've gone about this has been a lack of transparency, and that people only heard about this by literally the principal announcing that they're looking for students.
I kind of have to disagree with that. I did have a meeting, and it was open for the public to come and talk and express your opinions. And I will open a second meeting to come and express your opinions. And I think we should do it through committee and then bring it to the board, because I don't think it's fair for anyone else outside of this room that would like to say something about this to not have a voice.
I also just wanted to add, I know that there are some very strong mixed feelings about charter schools. I have some myself. It is an as-of-right development, as-of-right project. This board, to my knowledge, has not taken a position on as-of-right developments and projects in this district, so I don't necessarily want to set a precedent. I do think, however, Jonathan and the committee has agreed to hold a second meeting to hear feedback. And if, there is discussion from that committee that warrants, whether it's a letter, whether it's further conversation, whether it is what have you, I would be open to that. But I would prefer that the committee process follows through before we have any other action.
Can you clarify when the second meeting will be with Brooklyn Rise?
We'll have to invite the administrator first, and then we will have to set a date. Like this is something that I wasn't aware of the opposition that today was brought to my attention, and I haven't taken any position, and I will not take any position. I will just listen, and based on what the community wants is the position that our committee will take.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Moving on to,
Invitation.
no, actually, the
No?
joint committee meeting with housing and land use. Gonna step out for a second.
Everyone, my name is Antoinette Martinez, Chair of the Housing Committee. A few weeks ago, Land Use and Housing hosted a joint committee meeting. It was really great. The meeting, very well attended. We reviewed an application that was submitted by a developer and they're looking to redevelop St. Rocco's. St. Rocco's Church is located on 783 4th Avenue. And through the conversation, we found that Watermark Capital is the developer who's going to actually be leasing the site to build 3 residential buildings with a total of 257 dwelling units. The tallest of the building is going to be 13 stories, and the other 2 are going to be at 8 and 7 stories. So during the meeting, we reviewed the application. None of us are very seasoned land use experts, but we did come together just to have a list of questions. At the meeting, we're also folks who live in close proximity to the development site. So they had their concerns. So we have a list of questions, and we're having a second meeting with the developer on Wednesday, June 4th. And the Brooklyn Diocese is also going to be in attendance. So really encourage you to attend that meeting. If you have any questions, we're going to be sending those in advance to the developer, just so that they have time to prepare and really come forth with those answers for folks in the community. Something else that I wanted to bring to your attention is that and another as-of-right development was sent over to the board. The address for this site is 179 22nd Street. They're proposing to build a 12-story building. So this is on the corner of 22nd Street and 4th Avenue. 58, it'll be a total of 48 units. 58 will be at market rate, and 26 of those units will be affordable via 421A and voluntary inclusionary housing, VIH program. So just to break down what those 26 affordable units would be, there would be 3 at 70% AMI, which is roughly $76,000 for a single person. 17 units will be at 80% AMI, and that's just under $87,000 for a family of 1, and 6 units will be at 130% AMI, and that's just under $148,000 for a family of 1. And then, so at that 130 AMI, a studio would be deemed affordable at about $3,500 a month. So just, I mean, yeah, this is what's happening. It's really concerning. So for those apartments at 70%, a studio is about $1,900, and at 80% AMI, a studio would be about $2,200 a month. This is very alarming. This is happening as of right. I know Julio had mentioned that the board traditionally doesn't take a stance on as of right developments, but at these rates, I think we need to reconsider that. Also, I want to leave you with on June 9th, the Rent Guidelines Board is going to have their Brooklyn public testimony, and that's going to be happening between 5 and 8 p.m. At New York City College of Technology at J Street. So if you live in a rent stabilized apartment, you know that last year there was a rent increase at 2.75% for a 1-year lease. And they're looking they're looking for another increase that would go into effect October 1st if that's passed. So if you are available, go out and speak against it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add a couple of things to that. First of all, I want to thank Antoinette. She actually made us an entire presentation for that meeting based on the records she found online at the DCP. Our first meeting with the developers is on June 4th. They are coming to us earlier than we have gotten in other rezonings in terms of our place in the process. It is not yet certified, which means it's still in the environmental review stage. So we are getting a chance to get our foot in the door and advocate as much as possible. After the meeting, I was informed that there was a 27th Street Block Association meeting. It was open to the public, so I attended. It was a small group. For the most part, they just had questions about how ULURP works, what the rezoning process would be. I had an extended conversation with the people who live adjacent to the site about how that might affect their property. Unfortunately, they have a young child at home, so obviously the construction is going to be incredibly difficult for them. And so I think we're going to see a lot of engagement on this issue, which is really great because they are an organization that's already organized. And I think they may be able to bring in some other people from the adjacent blocks as well. This, just so we know, this is going to be the tallest building. It's going to be a 13-story tower. This is on 4th Avenue between 27th and 28th. That's, you know, 1 block from Greenwood Cemetery. So I'm concerned about the sightlines, obviously. That's something we will ask about. I encourage folks to read up on the notes that Antoinette sent out. Please submit to the board any questions that we want the developers to answer in advance of when they come on June 4th. And I hope to see lots of people there.
Thank you, Dana. Moving on to transportation and land use that held a joint meeting. Do you want to do that? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Getting in your steps today.
Jerked around here, man. What the heck? Yes. So I guess I should back up. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Gonzalez. I'm the chair of the Land Use Committee. I want to say a couple administrative things, actually. First off, welcome to all the new members. In case you didn't know that, you can attend any committee meetings you want to. You are not restricted to committees you are assigned to. And obviously, you don't have your committee assignments yet. So I would say, please come to as many meetings as you want to, kind of get a sense of everything. And see maybe if you have some feedback for Julie about where you'd like to best serve. We had a meeting of transportation and land use. Neither committee made quorum. This was a bit of a problem for us. So I'm going to reiterate things I've said before, which is that if you are routinely missing meetings, please resign from the committee. We have a number of members of the Land Use Committee who I don't think I've seen since I became chair. I couldn't pick them out of the lineup. This is really concerning. So please be honest with yourselves and with us about your capacity to be engaged. Because we were in a very difficult spot because the deadline for comment was 2 days after our meeting and we didn't have a full board meeting yet. So we were not able to send out anything official as a community board. The business at hand is they are creating a new ULURP. Well, there's a text amendment to the zoning code that would require last mile trucking facilities, what they're calling parcel delivery services. In order to open, they would have to go through the land use process. The fact that this is even happening is a really big win for us because it means we finally get a say instead of these things opening up just without any comment whatsoever. And the massive increases in traffic that we're seeing in the neighborhood are a result of that. There were a few concerns. First and foremost is the fact that this does nothing about the issue of what's already there. This only regulates new ones. Another issue that was brought up repeatedly was there is a limit of, this would only regulate facilities of 50,000 square feet or more. I think, and a lot of people think that this creates a loophole that could be exploited of subdividing existing spaces into, 49,000 square foot facilities. And we were very adamant that we encourage this loophole to be closed. There was also no accounting for distance from schools or for any other community programs, or possibly changing delivery hours so that they didn't take place during school drop-off and pickup. And also the fact that we have a lot of crossings without crossings guards right now. We have a massive crossing guard shortage in our district, and we're having all these additional trucks on the road. It's a real concern. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. There were also concerns about environmental aspects of this. We're talking about potentially creating new brownfields by having in-ground fuel tanks. There's also the fact that this endeavor does really push towards electrification of vehicles, and a lot of the existing facilities are increasingly shifting to electric vehicles. We asked for an environmental study that looks at the effect that this might have on overall electricity use and whether or not it might result in peaker plants being put into operation more than they would otherwise. So we did ask for that environmental study. Where we are, and there were a few other things as too. I welcome everyone to read the notes. Just so everyone knows where we are in the process is there has been an environmental assessment study that is complete. Since this is a text amendment, there has to be an EIS. That has not yet happened. What we were weighing in on is the scope of the EIS. So basically saying what the EIS should study. After the EIS is done is when the project gets certified, and then it comes back to us for comment. So we're going to have a lot more opportunities to comment on this, and I encourage as many people as possible to get engaged with this this process, because it's going to be a long process, but I'm really hopeful and positive that this is going to be something good. So happy to take any questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Can the letter that was sent to DCP be shared with the board?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you, everyone, and welcome new members.
Thank you. Katie.
Thank you to Diana and John DeLuper, who held that joint meeting down. I also want to say that I also know with the meetings and quorum, it's hard with making sure everyone has advance notices. So I think to also say that we'll endeavor to make sure that you get them more than a week in advance. And I think that's one of the big obstacles is they can get scheduled, but everyone needs to know and get them on their calendar. So I know it goes both ways. But Diana's point was well said, that we were reacting to a deadline that was coming up that we just had found out about. So I am going to, we do have a vote that we need to take specifically on an application that came to us. So it was a vote that we took in the Transportation Committee meeting. So I'm just reporting out on the April 28th Transportation Committee meeting. There were 4 agenda items. It went down to 3. So I'll just say what those were, and we're going to vote on the first one, which is this express bus application. The second agenda item was specifically to look at car share locations. So I'm just starting out by saying there were 4 agenda items, and I was just about to say that one of them was removed off of the agenda. So just to start at the top again, there were 4 agenda items that had been proposed for the Transportation Committee meeting. The first one is Express Bus, which we're going to go through. The second agenda item was for car share permits at 3 locations. And I'm going to verbally say them, and then I'm mentioning it here because they're going to be on our June 10th meeting. So I just want to make sure you know that for transportation. And the reason being is that DOT is going to come. So these are for 5501 2nd Avenue, 273 44th Street, and 170 33rd Street. So these are car share locations where they're looking to put private car share vehicle locations to hold the spots, but DOT will come, and that's on June 10th. The third agenda item was a presentation from Get Women Cycling and from Ask Mo. And then the fourth agenda item was specifically to talk about 3rd Avenue. Okay, so I'll just go back to the top because we need to vote on it, which is the express bus application. And so this was the Department of City Planning has an application for a private company to operate and run their express bus from Brooklyn to Chinatown. So they send it to the community board, and we can basically, just like lots of things, we take an advisory vote on it. We take it in the transportation committee, and then we come here. So the company is called Express Bus. They're located in North Carolina, and they came and they did have 3 representatives who came and presented their application. In the Transportation Committee, it's been a few years that we've had one of these, so I think we were thinking back at least 3 or 4 years. There are plenty of existing private operators that do have locations where they do pickups between inner cities that operate on our streets, right, that have this like pre-existing approval from the city DOT. There's also plenty of unlicensed, unpermitted private operators that run their buses between cities and between places that use the city streets but specifically use spaces. So again, this is somebody who came because they're going through the official channels, they're going through the official process, and they came with a robust proposal and application where they presented, and they had multiple languages, and they were there multiple languages. That being said, I'll get into the specifics. We voted to disapprove the application, but I just wanted to kind of lead off with acknowledging that they came to the board, they came ready to speak in multiple languages, they came with a very thorough presentation, they handed everything out. They wanted to put their express bus location on 8th Avenue at 60th Street. Between 60th, I know you're like on it, Jerry. Okay, between 8th Avenue, between 60th and 61st. And it's at the B70 location bus stop. So you might see these, like next time you go to a bus stop, maybe you'll see like, oh, there's like the name of another kind of private operator above or below the MTA sign. Next time you walk past a bus, you know, if you notice something like that. So that was where they wanted to operate. And it was to run between Brooklyn and Philadelphia. Just providing what details I feel relevant. North Carolina-based company. They told us they had customer service. It's readily available, multiple languages. They would charge $18 to ride between Brooklyn and Philly one way. They talked about their timings, buses, you know, two times, and then very tight turnarounds where they show up, pull in, load people, get people off, and then pull out. They said that they were exploring having their bus outside of those short 15-minute windows at the gas station on 65th Street. And we asked them about if they had considered other locations. They also said 8th Avenue at 55th Street and 60th Street and 7th Avenue. So lots of discussion on things I feel like I'm just going to say that you all know, but 7th and 8th Avenue, that corridor is just heavily congested and compacted. There's so much concern around accessibility. The reason they were choosing that location is because of the accessibility next to the subway for that exact reason, so people could take the subway and then be able to get on the bus. And they talked about seniors, and they talked about the ability to like not have to walk that far to be able to get the bus to then be able to go to Philly, and that they thought this was going to be the best location for them. But both the public members and the board members who were there are very concerned about the congestion for that corridor. So it was voted to disapprove the application 6-2. So 6. I always screw this one up.
6 in favor of disapproving, 2 opposed to disapproving.
Okay, thank you for that. So that's what I'm bringing to the full board tonight.
Thank you. So this came out of committee, does not require a second. The motion on the floor is to disapprove the express bus application to use the bus stop at 60th Street and 8th Avenue. Is there discussion on the motion? Jeremy? And then Jerry?
So it sounds like the real disagreement was on the location, that 8th Avenue or 7th Avenue. And I think honestly, it seems like actually a good proposal. Like I used to take Chinatown buses all the time. That was the cheapest way. The fact that we'd have one in our Chinatown would actually be pretty fantastic. So a lot of people use that. It's a great service. So I'm wondering actually if how amenable were they to looking at other locations? And it looks like they did have some alternative plans for it. I don't know. I mean, I didn't come in the committee for this, but I do think that we should promote this kind of transit and think about finding ways, better places for them to have a hub or a place to go. So I don't know if maybe the onus is on us to also find or recommend spots that would also be as accessible, because I understand their idea of like, hey, we're right by the N train and people can come right off. But yeah, it seems like 60th and 8th Avenue would be a nightmare boarding, 50, 60 people in the middle of probably like rush hour, different times that they're commuting. But I would hate to see us, like you said, it's advisory, but I hate to see us dissuade people from actually providing a pretty great like transit service that's really affordable for people.
Yeah, I'll just, I promise I won't comment on every question. I just want to say that that is something I think that was coming up in the questions is people want to, we did ask if they had considered other locations, but this is the one they put in with DOT. So we disapproved this location and said, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming with the ability to speak in all these different languages with your full presentation by doing this through the city, right? Like we wanted to kind of acknowledge all of the efforts that they had made, but we disapproved this spot. So.
Jerry, then Karen. Sorry, Jerry, then Damian, then Karen.
So, my name is Jerry. I was actually the vocal one on the call until Katie said, "Which to the next person." So, oh, okay. So my concern is I do know a lot of owners that own buses from Boston to so on and so on, and some of them went out of business because they don't follow rules and regulations. And but my concern is 7th Avenue, 8th Avenue is so packed already. All right, I could get a 2-year-old car faster than the bus going through 8th Avenue. Okay, one. Two is that location that they mentioned, which is in front of the soccer tavern, that casino bus also stopped there. Yeah, casino buses also stop there illegally, right? That's what Katie mentioned. And buses hang out there. The dollar van hang out there. Everyone hang out there. We don't need any more congestion in the area. I did mention let's move it to other locations, right? Maybe off 8th Avenue and 7th Avenue, but the answer is no, right? So I am so against this because I'm already tired of traffic on the avenue and 7th Avenue. If they really want to do this, let's find a hub. I do agree with hub, right? That everyone could use it, right? There's plenty of space underneath the overpass. So thank you. I'm voting no.
Jerry, Damian, then Karen.
I guess my only question I have is when they were talking about like coming towards 8th Avenue, would they be parking on 8th Avenue? Like how long would they would stop?
They said they would pull up right like the 15-minute window before the loading time, which was, I think, it's in the minutes, but like 9, yeah.
5 to 10 minute max.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Karen, behind you.
It's just, I want something clarified because I read over the minutes and I think it said something like that they would be in the bus stop picking up passengers for like 10 minutes or something like that, but they would be waiting in the gas station and it was determined that the gas station was too small. Is that, and that if they found another place to be waiting, that it might be acceptable. Am I misunderstanding what happened?
No, I think that maybe the minutes might also, I think we might need to amend the minutes just to be like very, like what happened in the meeting is we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the layover location, so the gas station being the layover location being a problem, but we also just said that location for pickup and drop off was a problem. And I think we have to go amend the minutes so they're a little bit more precise. Good catch. Yes. Oh, Julio's
One
calling
second.
the.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, so Xiomara, then Cynthia.
I would just like to add that I'm really glad that that was declined. Because living here in Sunset Park, it's heavily congested in that area. And as we've seen, even in the mornings and the evenings, we already have 4th Avenue that's heavily congested with all this traffic that's actually happening. And on top of it, I feel like that these are locations that are being targeted, because if you think about it, it's very heavily concentrated, and there are illegal vehicles that do like dollar vans and trips to Atlantic City, when it comes to things like that. And also 55th Street. 55th Street, we have NYU Langone that's there. We have emergency vehicles. There's a lot of things that happen on Second Avenue. And I just think that the congestion that we already have this issue, and also carbon emissions. If you look at Amazon, even when you order, they ask you to, add another day just so that you can help with, carbon emissions. So if you think about it, Second Avenue is fresh air that actually comes in through, and we have the waterfront and everything. So I just think that it actually would add more issues than anything, just approving that.
Cynthia?
Did they say how often they would operate? Is it once a day, twice a day, twice? Yes, thank you, John.
So the times are Monday, every day, Monday to Sunday. They would do pickups at 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. and they would do drop-offs at 12:30 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? Jamie, and then Michael, Tom.
One thing that came up in committee was that our role as a community board is advisory. And so if we want to get our point across, might it be more strategic to say yes with stipulations as opposed to saying no with stipulations, to indicate that we do want to work with them, and to get our preferences about location of bus stop through to the DOT. And with that in mind, in saying yes, I know there's a lot of concern about congestion on this board, which is something that is very concerning to me too. And I do think that mass transit, like buses, is one of the best solutions to congestion. And I think we should keep that in mind when voting on buses in our neighborhood.
Thank you. And just a clarification, Katie, our vote is to disapprove, but we are providing comments that came up from the committee, which includes congestion, location, and I forgot the third one.
Where the layover is.
Yeah. And then the layover. So we will be submitting comments with the note. If DOT actually listens and disapproves, and the applicant is free to reapply with a different location. Michael, Tom?
I have a question. Do we know they're licensed versus not?
Just to repeat the question, do we currently know if any of the other buses that are there are licensed?
So prior to the meeting, we asked DOT some questions about this, and they sent a bunch of their resources. According to their list of approved operators, there is only one legal operator in CB7 at this time, which is the one on 8th Avenue at 55th Street.
Thank you for that clarification. I do want to call the question. I think people's feelings are pretty clear. I would like to do this by a roll call vote. So Jeremy will call roll. When you hear your name, a yes vote is in favor of disapproving the application. A no vote is not in favor of disapproving the application. I hate using that. That confuses me. Yes.
To disapprove or no to.
Correct. Jeremy will call the roll.
Okay, so let's start with Diana Aguilar.
Yes to disapprove.
Thank you. Grisel Amador.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I should be telling you how you voted, telling everybody. So Diana Aguilar was a yes, Grisel Amador was a yes. Damian Andrade? Damian Andrade, yes. Jalea Bailey? Joan Body? Joan Body, yes. Gladys Bruno? Gladys Bruno, yes. Justin Campos? Jerry Chan? Jerry Chan, yes. Esteban Chavez? Esteban Chavez, yes. Richard Codor? Carrie Conti?
Yes to disapprove.
Carrie Conti, yes. Maria Cruz? Maria Cruz, yes. Danny DeBear? Danny DeBear, no. John DeLuper? John DeLuper, no. Gabino Morales Escamilla? Cynthia Felix?
No.
Cynthia Felix, no. Matthew Florkowicz? Matthew Florkowicz, no. Jamie Freed? Jamie Freed, no. Kin Feng?
Kin Feng, no.
Feng, no. Xiomara Garcia? Xiomara Garcia, yes. Diana Gonzalez? Diana Gonzalez, yes. Hector Gonzalez? Tylisha Gonzalez? Tylisha Gonzalez, yes. Nicole Huang? Nicholas Jackson? Dan Kaminsky? Dan Kaminsky, yes. Jeremy Kaplan? Jeremy Kaplan, no. Aaron Keith?
No.
No. Wyco?
No.
No. Paul Mack? Paul Mack? Antoinette Martinez? Antoinette Martinez, no. Jonathan Martinez? Jonathan Martinez, no. Rosie Moda?
No.
Moda, no.
I'm sorry, yes. Yes to the disapproval. I'm sorry.
Rosie Moda, yes to disapprove. Julio Pena III?
Yes.
Julio Pena III, yes. Michael Peppin? Michael Peppin, yes. Benjamin Reeves? Karen Rolnick? Karen Rolnick, no. Joanna Romero? Patricia Ruiz?
No.
No. Damaris Santiago?
Yes.
Santiago, yes. Sam Sierra? Kalina Sorma? Michael Tom? Michael Tom, no. Faye Walker?
Sorry. Are you okay here?
Are- Who is this?
Sorry.
Mute yourself. Faye Walker? I have no clue. Catherine Walsh? Catherine Walsh, yes. Cesar Zuniga? Cesar Zuniga, no. Motion to disapprove carries 18 yes, 15 no, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. 18 yes, 15 no. Katie?
Okay. Two last agenda items. I'll go pretty quick. That we covered. I just wanted to acknowledge the other presentation that we had was from a group called Get Women Cycling, and they just started this Ask Mo. It's Mo for Mobility, and the founder actually is born and raised Sunset Park. Angelina Azzolino did a presentation, and she talked about what you all can do to promote your values around safety and safe streets. And so it's all in the minutes, but joining groups that align with your values. She really stressed reporting to 311. I know it can be disparaging, like it can be exhausting because then traffic enforcement is usually responded by NYPD, and then NYPD closes it within a minute. And you know that they didn't actually look at it, but you still should, so just the circularity of this, still log it with 311 and then send that 311 issue that you're noticing on the streets to Community Board 7, because then Jeremy in his district manager role can follow up. And she also said to go to your local elected officials. So there are flyers that are outside, and Ask Mo is also a web page that you can go and ask questions. I did want to transition then to the last agenda item. So Angela talked about how she went to Third Avenue because of the longstanding work that we've been doing there, and she talked to parents that are bringing their kids to the schools that are up and down on 60th Street and Third Avenue. How the school crossing guards there, we know that there's a shortage of school crossing guards, said that the 60th Street light has been out 7 times just since the school year started. Jeremy has an email about this week where the city and the state are going back and forth in terms of responsibility and accountability on this. This has been brought to our elected officials, and we still don't have a resolution in terms of the lights being out at 60th Street. So again, just like vocalizing this and following up. The last agenda item was on the fact that in the March meeting, we did hear that there was this delay where we've pressed DOT to ask them why there was delay. They said they needed to do on the safety street improvement plan for Third Avenue, where they told us that they needed to do additional consultation. At the time, they cited that it was with Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce and Industry City. We have not heard anything outside of that. This delay is not happening. So Julio brought up there's WNYC and the Gothamist, like this is getting picked up in local news. Just like what I read in that story is just that when Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce was interviewed about the design option, that they said this was a big disregard to the generational businesses that have been part of Sunset Park longer than most of the board members themselves. So I think there needs to be a lot of engagement that Department of Transportation is going to have to continue to do. We need safety on Third Avenue. I mean, you all know this, and it's in the best interest of the people who call this place home, who work here, who live here. And we really cannot have special interests who are mandating what is happening on and in our streets. And so that meeting that Julio referenced is really important because we pulled together all of the elected officials and organizations that had been part of that BQE redesign to talk about where do we go from here, because DOT has promised us that they were going to do something about this a year ago, and now they've said it's not going to happen until the next administration. So if this next mayoral administration, right, nothing is happening. They're not doing anything this summer. They're not doing anything this fall for any safety improvement plans on Third Avenue. So really shortchanging this community. So that might look, that form of what do we do next might look different. And the current state is that Councilmember Aviles is meeting with DOT to find out what's going on, what's causing the delay, and then she's going to follow back up with the board so that we can, because it's city DOT, so that we can figure out what next steps look like. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Moving on to our second roll call.
Hello again. I am going to be calling the people who did not respond to the first roll call. If you don't hear your name, that's because we already have you marked present. If you're joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Diana Aguilar.
Here.
Thank you. Diana, you do not count towards quorum. Justin Campos. Richard Codor. Gabino Morales Escamilla. Nicholas Jackson. Dan Kaminsky. Thank you. Benjamin Reeves. Sam Sierra. Kalina Sorma. Faye Walker. Roll has been called.
Thank you. Moving on to the district manager's report.
Again, with all due respect to the Tauruses and the Geminis in the room, the best season is basketball season. DOT has informed us that there will be 3 open streets this summer in the Open Streets program. They are 18th Street between 4th and 5th Avenues, 43rd Street between 7th and 8th Avenues, and 54th Street between 5th and 6th Avenues. They will be closed during the 9 to 5 period to accommodate public use of the streets. Some of these have specific hours for local schools, but the other times they are open to anybody. EDC announced today that Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corp. has won the RFP for the Economic Mobility Network. I mentioned this in my report a few months ago. That is a way, hopefully, to get people more involved in the jobs, get skills, and matching folks in the community with local jobs. There will be other local partners that SBIDC will need to bring on. They have not announced the local partners yet. Hopefully, we'll have more information on this in the next couple of days. The State Liquor Authority is having a hearing for Family Hall Events. That's 201 46th Street. The Public Safety Committee several months ago had a meeting on this location, and this board voted against this 600-person hall on Second Avenue, which was seeking actually their liquor license at the time. They're seeking their liquor license still. There is a public hearing. It is on June 4th at 10 a.m. The info, if you would like to watch the public hearing, will be in the newsletter tomorrow. We learned about an upcoming certification for a ULURP that will be taking place near the end of June for Prospect Farms, which is a community garden, which is currently owned by DOT and would be transferred to Department of Parks and Recreation. There would be no change in use, but we will be required, since it's transferring from one agency to another, to take part in the ULURP process, and we will have to have a vote, I believe, at our September board meeting. So they had made mention that they're willing to come to us before the certification to tell us what this is all about, and hopefully we could schedule a meeting before summer. Diana's not here in person, so I will bring up for her the Sunset Park cleanup is scheduled for this Saturday, the 24th. They're going to be meeting, I believe, on 54th Street. There are flyers on the table outside at 10 a.m. The Department of Sanitation is providing bags and gloves and other materials that are necessary to do the cleanup. It will also be in your newsletter tomorrow, but there is an email address that you could reach out and share that you would like to join, or if you have any questions. Liquor licenses, since our last meeting, there have been 22 new and renewal applications, one cannabis license, which we received today, and no dining out applications. And then finally, the police department statistics are on the table outside.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions on the district manager's report?
Oh, but I would just like to add about the family hall. When we did have the meeting, there was a lot of opposition from the community, in particular the neighbors that lived between First and Second Avenue, and they voiced concern that Second Avenue was turning very nightclubby, and they were very concerned about this particular location, which has been having parties illegally with liquor and other things. So I do hope that it does not go through.
Thank you for the clarification. Moving on to old business. Is there any old business? Chill. Any new business? Damon, did you have new business? Yes. Okay, please come to the microphone.
Hey everyone, and hi to all of our new board members. My name is Damien. As we heard earlier, I will make this quick and simple. As we were hearing from the housing committee, as you know, Sunset Park is getting a lot of as-of rights development, and we're getting a lot of unaffordable housing. And I know Antoinette said, believe by June 9th, there's going to be a public testimony at City College for the Rent Guidelines Board, and for those of us who are renters. I live in a rent-stabilized housing. I would like to introduce a resolution today. Whereas on April 30th, 2025, the New York City Rent Guidelines Board held a preliminary vote to propose a rent increase of 1.75% to 4.75% for 1-year leases and 4.75% to 7.75% for 2-year leases on rent stabilized apartments affecting over 2 million New Yorkers. And whereas community board whereas Brooklyn Community District 7, which includes Sunset Park, Windsor Terrace, and the surrounding areas, is home to a large population of working class, immigrant, and low-income residents, many of whom live in rent-stabilized housing and are already facing immense financial pressure. And whereas these proposed rent increases will place an additional and potentially devastating burden on tenants, increasing the risk of housing insecurity, displacement, and evictions, especially for families, seniors, disabled residents, and essential workers. And whereas our community continues to recover from the economic impacts of COVID-19 pandemic with the rising cost of living, inflation, and limited wages, growth, putting more strain on household budgets, and whereas housing is a basic human right and the preservation of affordable, stable housing is essential to the health, safety, and future of our neighborhoods. Now, therefore, be resolved that Brooklyn Community Board 7 formally calls on the Rent Guidelines Board to pause the proposed rent increase approved in the preliminary vote by the New York City Rent Guidelines Board, and be it further resolved that Brooklyn Community Board 7 calls on the Rent Guidelines Board and Mayor Eric Adams to maintain rents at current levels. Be it further resolved that Brooklyn Community Board 7 publicly declares its support for a rent freeze as necessary measures to protect our working families, prevent displacement, and ensure housing stability for the residents in our community.
Is there a second to that resolution? Seconded by
Yes.
Jeremy? Sorry? Oh, is there any discussion on the resolution as presented? Jeremy?
But I'd actually propose rent freeze or rent rollback because of the astronomical rent hikes. I'm a rent stabilized tenant as well. From Eric Adams, the highest rent hike since Bloomberg. It's been 9%, and that's just unacceptable. So if you look at the data, landlords' profits increased. The rent guidelines put out their numbers, and their profits increased by 14%. So I think it's absolutely, we put tenants first, but it's absolutely feasible for landlords to be making money if they do roll back too. They've made incredible profits. Their profits have increased. So I think actually we should call for rent freeze or rent rollback because that's actually what the numbers call for.
I agree with adding that to the amendment or resolution.
Diana?
Light on. Battery ran out.
There we go. Her question is, what's the deadline for comment? I believe it's June 9th. That's when the Rent Guidelines Board is of June. The final vote is on the 25th of June. Thank you, Antoinette.
I'm curious whether this might be referred to the housing, that more people can give input into it.
Was that a motion
As
to
a
table?
motion, yes.
Can I note something that if we do roll this back, by the time our next meeting, the vote would already happened.
Next meeting is June 18th.
Oh.
Our next board meeting is June 18th, sorry. Is there a second to motion? Is there a second to table? Seconded by Karen. It is a privileged motion, which means it needs to be handled before we proceed to the next motion. Until we continue discussion on the original motion of the resolution. Sorry.
As chair of the housing committee, we have issues with reaching quorum. I don't remember the last time we've reached a quorum in many years that I've been chair. So I strongly don't recommend pushing this to committee because we won't even be able to vote on it. And, you know, like, I personally, taking off my chair hat, you know, people's rents are going up. I don't, sorry, it's just, it's a lot because it's like, I think a lot of people in this room, maybe they're homeowners, maybe their living situation is just very different where they're not seeing these increases, but a lot of people in this community are feeling it. And it's really not fair that we have a mayor who's about to be 1 foot out the door and is really trying to appease all of these landlords with an increase right before he leaves. And it's going to be a lot of people who live in this community whose rent is already astronomical, is really going to feel it. But anyway, just want to say that pushing this to committee is really not going to change anything, I feel.
Thank you, Antoinette. So we have a motion on the floor to table and refer to the housing committee. We have to handle the motion on the floor before we can continue discussion. And it was seconded. So we're gonna vote on to table to refer to the housing committee. A yes vote is in favor of tabling and a no vote is not in favor of tabling. We're gonna do a roll call vote. Correct. To refer to housing.
Make a friendly comment too. A lot of board members left too. So I don't know if we could just not table it to committee, but is it possible to like have it at the beginning of the next meeting so that more people are here to actually vote? I don't know if that's a possibility. Right, because a lot of, I'm looking out and I see a lot of people have
So a quorum,
exited the building.
sorry, a quorum call has been called. That's such a weird phrasing. So we need to determine if a quorum is still present in the room. Jeremy will call attendance.
Okay, this is a quorum call. If you're joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, mute yourself again, but of course you don't count towards quorum. Diana Aguilar.
Here.
Thank you, Diana. You don't count towards quorum. Griselle Amador.
Present.
Griselle, you do not count towards quorum. Damian Andrade. Thank you. Jalea Bailey. Joan Body. Gladys Bruno. Thank you. Justin Campos. Jerry Chan. Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Richard Codor. Carrie Conte.
I'm here.
Carrie, you do not count towards quorum. Maria Cruz. Thank you. Danny DeBear. John DeLuper. Thank you. Gabino Morales Escamilla. Cynthia Felix.
Here.
Thank you. Matthew Florkowicz. Thank you. Jamie Freed. Thank you. Kin Fung.
Here.
Not count towards quorum. Xiomara Garcia. Thank you. Diana Gonzalez. Thank you. Hector Gonzalez. Tylisha Gonzalez. Thank you. Nicole Huang. Nicholas Jackson. Dan Kaminsky. Thank you. Jeremy Kaplan. Thank you. Aaron Keith.
Present on Zoom.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Wyco.
Yeah.
Not count
Yeah.
towards. Thank you. Paul Mack. Antoinette Martinez. Thank you. Jonathan Martinez. Thank you. Rosie Moda. Julio Pena III.
Here.
Thank you. Michael Pappen. Thank you. Benjamin Reeves. Karen Rolnick. Thank you. Joanna Romero. Patricia Ruiz. Thank you. Damaris Santiago.
Present.
Not count towards quorum. Sam Sierra. Kalina Sorma. Michael Tom. Thank you. Faye Walker. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. I have 22 in the room. We have lost quorum.
So the only official act we can do at this moment is to adjourn the meeting. I will say there is interest in this resolution so that there are two options. Damien can reintroduce at the June meeting, or it can be brought up in the Housing Committee and also be brought up at the June meeting, but through a committee report. So those are the options.
So the Housing Committee, we're going to be meeting on June 4th. I'm happy to have this discussion at the very beginning of the meeting, but just want to make sure that people attend, and also ask the chair if, we have a number of new committee members, if those assignments can be sent out by the end of this week, by early next week. That way we make sure that, we have enough members currently active so that we can reach quorum. And also, there was a point made previously, if you haven't attended a Housing Committee meeting, please join us. But if you're thinking about, if you just don't have capacity, just reach out to Jeremy and let him know that you need to drop off, just because it hurts us in reaching quorum and being able to pass resolutions. Thank you.
But I'll say two things. One, I don't think I'll be able to get through committee assignments until June. What I can commit to do is what we did with Parks, is communicate to the committee in advance to attend the meeting so that quorum can be established. And what we have done in the past is we have amended the committee so that a quorum could be present, which I'm also happy to do. Just want to remind folks, we are in an unofficial meeting since we don't have quorum, but I did see a hand up. Diana, did you want to add something? Yeah, we'll talk after how to handle that, because we've done that before with transportation and public safety when they've had joint meetings. I do want to acknowledge there may be some members online or in person who want to give public comment. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak before our board? If you could just please come up. Oh, thank you. We're getting the microphone. Yeah, and you have 3 minutes. You just state your name, please.
I'm in and
Just hold the microphone.
Hold the
close to you.
microphone and
hello,
don't move.
hello. Okay. So I've been a resident of Sunset Park for about 40-something years. And yes, the gentrification has helped, but I agree with everyone that the rents have increased immensely. And I've seen a lot of my neighbors, people that I grew up with, they have to move out because they can no longer afford to reside in Sunset Park. But, and another thing I wanted to just add, with the school situation, it was great that they built a numerous amount of schools to accommodate the kids. But now in this immediate area, it's overpopulated with schooling. We have a situation currently on the actual 43rd Street where I reside, between 4th and 3rd Avenue. There is no parking. The teachers need parking. The residents need parking. And there was an empty lot, and now I have a neighbor. He just took over the lot, and he has about every evening 10 illegally, maybe 8 to 10 vehicles illegally parked there. And this is a hazardous situation because, one, he's not the owner, and two, who's responsible? Last time he almost hit someone exiting the illegally parked lot, parking lot, and who's going to be held accountable for him having an accident, And then another thing, we do have these two schools on 43rd Street, and we don't have a speed bump. And all the vehicles, they go southbound on 43rd from 4th Avenue to 3rd Avenue at a high rate speed. And we have all these kids that are crossing because the crossing guard that is assigned to that corner, that intersection, she is always on the phone or either walking away from the corner. I've had multiple, I want to say, discussions or arguments with her because I reside and obviously I'm disabled. And I asked her nicely and politely on several occasions, can she give me access so I can go down my street? Well, some people, they shouldn't be given authority. She is obviously one of these people because she lets everyone else that's befriended her gain access to the street while kids are moving and crossing back and forth. And here I come. I want to gain access to my personal parking space, and she denies me. So, one, the speed bump is necessary, as I brought to the board, which I'm greatly appreciative of the board for everything you do for our community. But we need a speed bump. We need a better crossing guard. And we need this gentleman, which I use the term very loosely, to be, um, thrown out of, his trespassing situation. Thank you.
Thank you. We have two on Zoom. Jeremy, can you call the first person, please?
Roxana Benavides, you could unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. Roxana Benavides from the Sunset Park Library, 5108 4th Avenue. It's nice to say hello to all the members of the community. I just wanted to mention, I just posted something on the chat also, because I know that everybody wants to go home. But I do wanted to mention about our campaign already, invest in library for library funding, asking our leaders to help us continue having our libraries flourish. I do want to highlight also that part of the asking that BPL is doing is for $2 million to open some of the branches and on Sundays. Hint, hint, Sunset Park is open only from Monday through Saturdays. We also want to highlight that the summer reading program, a kickoff event is going to be on June 5th at 2 p.m. And then we also going to have a get ready Sunset Park and Emergency Preparedness Resource Fair on Friday, June 13th from 1 to 5 p.m. Our amazing story times are happening. You can find all our events and programs at bklynlibrary.org and our website. And we continue to offer ESOL classes and also help with resume and cover letters, and also those who need help with the accessing and filling out applications and etc. online. Visit us, please, at 5108 4th Avenue. And for everybody, enjoy Gemini season, enjoying, what was the other one, Jeremy? Sorry. All the
Basketball
seasons that you get. Yes. So it's nice to see everybody and then hear from everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much, Roxana. Jeremy will call the next person with their hand up on Zoom. I know.
Maureen, don't tell me these things. Marina Boyle, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm just curious, is there policy regarding attendance on committees? I haven't attended a community board meeting in a long time. I'm finding this meeting very educational and awesome, and it's nice to be here. But what I'm hearing is you've got members that don't show up to committees, and you're asking them, hey, if you can't show up, please resign. What's the policy? How many meetings in a row can you miss? Somebody said that they wouldn't even recognize their committee members if they saw them. That's disheartening to hear. What's the policy?
So public comment is for members of the public to speak. We're not responding. I would ask, you
Oh.
can email the board for, if you want clarity.
Okay, thank you. I will do that.
Thank you, Maureen. And I saw 2 hands. Was that 3 hands? Okay. Yes, the young lady and then the gentleman in the back. Forgive me for assuming. If you just come up to the microphone that Dan is gonna provide you. If you could just say your name for the record, please. Just hold the microphone straight. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kat Trujillo, and I'm the Deputy Director at Uprose. I just wanted to respond to the proposal that was put forward by Blue Horizon Sailing. And it was mentioned tonight, but it was also presented to the CB7 Parks and Environment Committee meeting on May 12th. So the group has outlined a $400,000 plan to build a community marine center at Bush Terminal Pierce Park. They're going to offer sailing, canoeing, kayaking, and other programming. And I just wanted to point out that even though at first glance this sounds like a promising idea, who wouldn't want more access to the waterfront, recreational programs, and other educational opportunities for the community? If you take a closer look, there are serious concerns about how well this proposal aligns with the vision that Sunset Park residents themselves have articulated consistently for the industrial waterfront. Our working waterfront is not a playground for the outside hobbyists. It's not a blank slate for private interests to impose their vision. Blue Horizon Sailing says that their project is community driven, but they have no ties to the neighborhood. They have no history of meaningful community engagement, no formal partnerships with any local organizations, and no real accountability to the people of Sunset Park. This is a group of sailing enthusiasts that formed last November, who, well-meaning or not, are proposing a project in a frontline community without involving residents in shaping that vision. Their proposal ignores the Grid 2.0, which is the comprehensive roadmap for advancing a just transition in Sunset Park. This is a bold operational vision to protect the industrial waterfront, promote a regenerative economy, and strengthen climate resilience. So on behalf of Uprose, we urge that before offering its support, the community board ensure that waterfront projects like the one proposed are rooted in community-led planning, include meaningful community input in all land use decisions, are managed transparently with Sunset Park residents actively participating in decision-making. And just to clarify, we're not opposed to new ideas. We are not opposed to this project per se, but we are opposed to outside groups who are coming into Sunset Park and making decisions about the community without involving the people who actually live here. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just pass the microphone to the gentleman in the back, the black sweater. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ahmad Perez. I'm the infrastructure coordinator at Uprose. Just jumping on the theme here that Kat just raised about outside interest coming in.
Point, just hold it straight.
And deciding what is best for the community. Tomorrow, EDC is going to be announcing the consortium that has been selected for the $100 million RFP for the Climate Innovation Hub at BAT. This is 2 outside companies, the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator and Cambridge Innovation Center. 2 firms that have no history in Sunset Park, have not engaged Sunset Park, are about to get $100 million to really redesign and redevelop that space at BAT. There is limited square footage. We are seeing the future of our waterfront be given over to outside interests, displacing the vision of the grid, which has been planned by the community for over a decade, but also displacing the residents, right? There are going to be rising rent prices. We're talking about rent now, but when we have these folks come in and gentrify our community, it is the folks that live here who are going to have to pay the consequences. So I know we've tried to attempt to engage CB7 around this issue as well, but just want to flag folks that EDC is continuing to play in our faces.
Thank you.
There's a little over $1 million allotted for the borough of Brooklyn.
5 projects will win, each getting 200K. At least one project is guaranteed for Sunset Park. So I just want to give a call to action for us to complete those ballots. Anyone age 11 and up is eligible. Any New York City resident is eligible. Votes are being counted up until June 25th. We see some physical ballots going around. I also have the link and the QR codes for the online ballot. I'll leave it right by the table over there. And with my remaining time, I'm just going to quickly read over youth employment training and partnerships, intergenerational financial education and employment workshops, youth-led community ventures, youth LGBTQ safe space, youth job training and employment opportunities, period pantry, youth young parent supporting classes, job training for single parents, community kitchen with classes, and reducing recidivism rates. So please get your vote out. Thank you.
Thank you. You better be quick. Jerry?
This is, I'll be walking around the neighborhood a lot and listening to seniors and other adult daycare centers, realizing that a lot of the elderlies, or not even the elderly, people are getting their food stamp money stolen. Okay, so I'm actually working on it. You know, for those who don't know, I actually do cybersecurity for a living. So I'm actually working with other agencies, not within the state or the city agency, trying to figure out who's stealing the money. But I just want to be a public safety. If you guys go out and use your card, I teach this to my kids when we're little. The machine that you see in the bodega or in the supermarket, bank the shit out of it. If something comes off, don't use it. Okay. Make sure when you put in the pin, be very careful. If you know someone that got their money stolen, come see me. Right? Let me figure out how to not get your money back. Make sure it doesn't happen to the next person. Thank you, Julio.
Thank you, Jerry. And with that, good night, everyone.
I just think I'd be remiss that we lost a Sunset Park resident on Monday to a fire on 39th Street and 4th Avenue, Ashik Hassan. His story is actually in the New York Daily News. He was a Pakistani immigrant who was awaiting his family to come here. So, I just feel like we need to acknowledge that really, really sad story and another fire that takes place in Sunset Park. So, there probably will be like a makeshift memorial, but it's on 39th and 9th Avenue right on the deli corner.
Thank you, Jeremy. With that, good night, everyone. Our next meeting is June 18th. Mark your calendars. Thank you.
No. I'm watching it from the beginning.
They keep asking, can I get my money back? I said, I can't get your money back. But I need to, I got the FBI involved. And they doing something already. And up in the Bronx.
I know they did something in Brett.
Real quick, Tom Carroll from Night, but just
What's
wanted
up?
to hand this off to you. No real updates in here, we're just stipulating.
No way. He's announcing.
Oh.